Hi, my name is Alonzo. This is episode 1 of my podcast. And I'm going to start by breaking down my story into parts. Now, after my story is told, you'll probably hear bits and pieces of it throughout the rest of my podcast. But I won't ever tell the whole story again. I grew up in Compton, California. Didn't have, I grew up in what you would call the parent lottery. And because you don't get a choice, right? It's a gamble. You don't get to choose the parents that you have. So at the age of 4, my stepfather came into my life. That's where I'm going to start. I was questioned by him, and his first question to me already got us off on the bad foot. His first question to me was, "Are you going to call me John or are you going to call me Pops?" My response was, "I'm going to call you John." He didn't like that response. He said, "No, you're going to call me Pops." So for the next 6 years, I would endure a lot of pain, anger, and frustration from my abuser. There were times where he would say, "You know I love you, right?" Before becoming abusive. And I would say, no, I don't know that you love me. We went from place to place from 4 years of age on. I counted, and I kept count of every school I've been to. By the time I hit the 5th grade, I had already been in 11 elementary schools. I've slept in the back of a Mustang. I have slept in roach motels. We have struggled with homelessness. I woke up to having cat feces on me. I have, dealt with a lot. We finally settled at 122 West Rosecrans. The building's no longer there. Or at least the building that was there is no longer there. And I got so used to hearing gang violence and, helicopters, or ghetto choppers as we would call them, right? Ghetto birds, whole different list of names. But I got used to it. I got used to the violence. I got used to seeing the gang banging. I got used to seeing the drugs being sold. There were guns in my house that were fully loaded that I knew where they were and held them in my hand. I also knew that these things should not be taking place. I was very intuitive from a young age. And where everybody else saw the drugs, the alcohol, the partying, the wanting to get high, the, wanting to get their mind off of things, that's what they saw. They saw the fun in it. Me, I saw the downside. I saw the hangovers. I saw the violence that took place when people were inebriated. I saw the guns getting pulled out. I saw the, anger over a crap game. I saw the, all the downside. And it made me not want to attempt any of that. So in this area, I I pretty much stayed to myself unless I was with my God family. My God family were my saving grace growing up, you know. And shout out to the Joneses. They know who they are. So, but every weekend, you know, a lot of weekends with them, and even some summers. And they are probably the biggest reason why I believe in Jesus today. They started me on that journey. And so shout out to them. But yeah, I grew up poor. I've eaten sparkling water with cereal. I was in the school lunch program where they had the old, orangish yellow lunch tickets. And if you lost your ticket, you wasn't eating. I had to wake up 6 a.m., 5 a.m. to make sure that we got to the park on time in order to get, government cheese and whatever was in that brown paper bag for lunch, So I know what that's like. So when we get to 122 West Rosecrans, it seemed like we were kind of getting a little stable. And it felt that way, at least. So the only thing that didn't stop was the abuse. It was clear my stepfather didn't like me. And so one night, I'm going to skip a little bit. I came back from being with my God family. And I was brought into a story of something that took place that I, to this day, don't know the full story of, or whether it took place or not, or however it went. And because of this story, I'm not going to tell the story because it's not my story to tell. But I will say that because of that story, I was viciously, and I'm still being liked, abused by my stepfather. I was chained to tables, butt naked, and beaten. I was attacked by my own dog, which was a Rottweiler, 120-pound Rottweiler. I was threatened. I was backhanded whenever I screamed. I was told to stand on one leg. And I was bound by chains. And I was told that if my foot went down, I would get beaten even worse. I was nearly drowned to death several times with chains around my neck, with barbell, the round barbell things that go on side of, or plates, weighted plates. And I was burned by barbell holders that was put on hot plates. Because I was told that what I was saying was not the truth. Even when it was. And so it was a lot to go through. And one night, I eventually was able to get free of the chains. After standing on my one foot for a few hours, because my stepfather was holding the other end of the chain. And he said, if you put your foot down, I'm going to beat you. Well, of course, I waited a few hours, waited till they were asleep. And I really made sure that they were asleep. I shook the chain and everything. And I squeezed my hands out of these chains. And I didn't go out the front door because it was a studio apartment. And I knew that if I went out the front door, that it would make noise and they would wake up. So what I did instead was I went into the bathroom and I hid behind the large amount of laundry that was placed there. And I waited. I actually fell asleep back there. I wasn't planning on to, but I did. And I woke up to my mother screaming, where are you? And she was calling my name. And she went in there. She started to look at the laundry stuff, but she didn't stay very long. They eventually left to go looking for me. And couldn't find me. Because after they left, I left a little while after them. I knew where my god family's house was on the other side of Compton. So I first attempted to call collect, no answer. And then I took myself and I walked across Compton. But before I can get fully across, there was these people. I can't remember their names. Shout out to you. Thank you for helping me if you're still alive and walking around. But they saw that I was walking around with 2 black eyes, dried blood on my skin, and they said, okay. They followed me. There was a gentleman who followed me, and when I noticed that he was following me, I started to run. And, stranger danger and all that stuff, right? And he eventually called me, and they fed me, and they said they just wanted to talk. And I said, okay, I only have one rule: no police. It's Compton, no police, right? We don't talk to police. So I'm not glorifying any of this. It's just the story. So they sat me down and had a conversation with me. And within probably about 4 to 6 hours, the police came. And I looked at them and I was like, I told you no police. And they were like, we had to. And so I end up at the police station, and I guess my mom and my stepfather were already there trying to make a report. And instead of being able to file a report, they had charges brought against them.